Okay, I figured I'm gonna do like some kind of improv diary of sorts. This is super bright. Improv diary of sorts. Don't judge this piece of hair. I had a mishap at the hairdresser. It's a long story, but don't look at it. Anyway, had the first improv class at Second City tonight. So I'm doing an intensive for level A. So basically you get done, I don't know, like a month or two worth of classes in 2 weekends. So I just did the first class tonight. The 3 hours or whatever it is went by super fast. There was probably about 16 of us. I believe that was how many. All different age groups, all different walks of life. Very diverse group of people, which was amazing. And yeah, I feel pretty good. I feel really good after that class. So basically we did a lot of just exercises that focus on a number of different things that you don't even realize that you're getting out of the exercise when you're doing them. And at first, you know, I'm like, I don't know. I had taken the one drop-in class with Victor, which I thought was super fun, and I was fine with it. I'm just gonna wipe this. It looks dirty. I don't think you're supposed to do it like this. Anyway, went with Victor that time, but this time I was by myself, so I felt a little open, you know, exposed, because I was there by myself this time. But we quickly opened up. We did a bunch of exercises that allowed us to sort of break the ice a little bit. Some cool name games, memory. I know everybody's name there now. Yeah, it was really good because lots to do with vulnerability, because you're putting yourself out there without knowing, you know, you're entering into the unknown boldly. And it really was an exercise in that kind of vulnerability. Also, we learned a lot about just being open to the unexpected. And at a time like where I am now in my life, where, you know, I'm kind of reacting to a situation that I've put myself in, where I am still clinging and holding on to what is comfortable for me and what my past identity was. And so I'm sort of going into this unknown realm that I have not fully explored, and I'm having to learn about myself yet again. So it's a scary time because, like I said, you're navigating uncharted territories, or territories that you hadn't gone down in a while. So it was a good for me to kind of just be willing to just say, you know what, I don't know what's gonna happen in the class, in this particular exercise, because a lot of the exercises involved you stepping into the middle to take a shape or to add on to a story or whatever the case may be, and you may not even know what that next step is going to be when you take that initial step to head into the middle. So some lessons there definitely, but also about just being open to receive. You know, you have to be willing to open to receive whatever, gratitude, blessings in your life, those kinds of things. And very often, you know, I'm so guilty of when somebody gives me a compliment or whatever, I'm always like, yes, but it's cheap. Yes, but oh, it's an old dress. Oh, yes, but what about this pimple on my face? Those kind of things. So there was a good exercise in being open to receiving. At least that's how I took it. And everybody was so funny. So many people were really funny. And I had a lot of fun just kind of listening to people's story, like just the stuff they were saying. And I was kind of like, here I am, Friday night in this room with all these random people I don't know, but I'm actually having a really good time. I was able to step out of the situation and look at how I was feeling and be like, yeah, I'm having a really good time. So I'm happy I did that. And I have classes continue tomorrow and on Sunday as well, so I'm gonna report and let you know what happened. Nobody knows who I am, or, you know, I felt relieved and sort of a sense of freedom knowing, okay, I'm trying this new thing, and the minute I walked in, nobody was like, oh, is that Anika? What is she doing here? You know? So that was kind of cool. Did you just, oh, okay, sorry. I thought Remy ripped up my glove there. I was like, what are you doing? Anyway, really awesome. And yeah, so here we go. Improv level A intensive day 1, and I'm feeling good, but I'm starving. Definitely have to eat more before I go. And I thought I had an apple in my bag, but I didn't. I didn't have an apple in my damn bag. I put it in another bag. Anyway. Okay, just back from the second class of my, well, it's actually called the Improv level A intensive. And it's over 2 weekends, so this is my second day. Definitely feel more comfortable with the class and just kind of doing stuff. It's super weird. A lot of the stuff is weird and you're gonna feel stupid. But it's good because everybody else is feeling that way and everybody else is feeling stupid. But it just kind of helps to push you out of that comfort zone. So I got to know a little bit more. I wouldn't say a few more of the people in the class, because maybe they're like 15, 16 people. And you don't really have a lot of time to talk to people because you're just fully engaged in all the exercises that Jess, the teacher, is leading. And so this time we sort of did, we started to touch on some of the like core fundamentals of what I knew about improv. So the whole idea of yes and, which is and this is something that Pooja and I at CB24, we always used to talk about this. Even though I'd never taken an improv class, she had, and she always would be like, see, you're good because you know how to carry on the conversation. Even if we're live on air and I say to you, oh, Anika, the sky is so green today, you would say yes. And you know, it depends on the angle that you look at it. It also has sort of a blue hue. So this whole idea of not just like putting a full stop and killing the vibe of a conversation, just keeping that bouncing ball going. So we talked a lot about that, doing some exercises in that regard, and just how it feels good to collaborate with people. At least those are some of the things I was taking away from it, this idea of collaborating with somebody to come up with something that's super magical. And that's something that's relatable for me too, from a business perspective, so to speak, for somebody who often does things by themselves or like to be like that, because I'm Scorpio. But so collaboration, that was cool. A lot of talk about just freedom, just the whole idea of rebelling against structure and this is right, that is wrong. Not to say it's like anarchy up in there, but it's just giving yourself a break from the rigidity of society. And somebody, again, like me, coming from a broadcast environment where there are things you do and there are things you don't do, and there are ways to, you know, do your job and stuff that's expected of you. So it's a cool notion when it comes to improv, this whole idea of just kind of that freedom, not overthinking things, which is something I do a lot. I'm just always, sometimes I think about, okay, what's my next thing? Or you feel forced to be funny. Like sometimes that's my crutch. Like I use humor as a crutch at times when I'm meeting people for the first time. I feel like I have to be on, or sometimes I'd say to my husband, oh, I don't feel like going to this particular place because I just don't feel like being on. And I often wonder if that's a self-imposed thing that I put on myself, or what, right? So it's just a break from having to feel that way, just whatever comes top of mind or whatever your instinct is. So collaboration, at least what I got, freedom, and surrendering, which goes along with the idea of that whole freedom and just rolling with the unexpected, which I said before. So again, just bringing home some of those points. But you know, as you stand there and as you learn and as you look at a lot of these other people, and I was talking to one of my classmates when I was leaving, and you know, she's 25 and she was talking about how she's just in an explorative part of her life right now, because she's done any of the jobs that she's had at this young stage in her life have never been truly fulfilling. She talks about the fact that she's, you know, a child of immigrant parents, and there are just certain things you do and you don't do, and certain things that's considered successful and certain things that are not. And so she never had a chance to play or to really be herself or explore some of the things that she's passionate about. And so now she's like, somebody give her a ukulele for something, and now she performs, and she realizes that she loves to sing, so she sings. And she invited me to like a karaoke thing that she does with a Facebook group. They choose like a different bar in the city and they go and they just do karaoke or open night. So she just like explored, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I'm like 9, 10 years older than this girl, but I kind of wanted to say to her, this is so awesome that you're doing this now, because you could have turned out to be me had you not taken a step back to say, like, you know what, I'm not really so happy in life, you know, so let me see what I can do. And there are times when I think to myself, oh gosh, you should have really taken stock earlier. Why didn't you do this earlier? You know? And sometimes I get upset about that, or feel like, oh, I should have, or should have, could have, would have. But then I'm doing it now, right? So better late than never, and you just gotta learn quickly and fail up, so to speak. So again, another good class. The time went by much faster this time for whatever reason, and I did have some food, and Victor packed me soup, so that was great that I had food to eat. Yeah, so looking forward to doing this more, and just being open. We had an exercise to do where you're supposed to take an object and then think of like 5 different ways to use this particular object. So just come up, use your imagination. And I just had my water bottle in my hand, so I just used that. However, after I came up with 5, I just kind of stopped because we were sitting there, and I could have totally done so many more things with my water bottle. And when I saw what everybody else was doing, just being so much more imaginative. So it was just an exercise of like, why didn't you go that extra? Why didn't you go further? What was stopping you from doing something other than, oh, I use my bottle as a pen, or it was a rolling pin, or it could also be a baby or a parrot on your shoulder, or some other random things. But I could have done other things. But anyway, improv is not about being better, best, or improving upon yourself, so to speak, and one-upping one another. It's not about that. So see, again, that's a flaw. But yeah, so far so good. And I have another class tomorrow, and then after that, the weekend after. But of course, I'll let you know. Hello. Okay, so this is day 3 now of my improv level A class at Second City in Toronto. And it was a little harder to get up and out for the class today. I don't know, it was a Sunday. I was just kind of like blah, blah, blah. But then once we got there, it was great. This time, we focused a lot on, and this is the thing, it's 3 hours. I don't even really remember all the things we do. Jess, the teacher, she puts a lot of different exercises in, and so you don't even see the time passing. It's really interesting. But we looked at sort of mirroring. We did lots of mirroring exercises, and let me tell you, if like for me to explain to you the kind of things we're doing, like it's just really bizarre. It's just stuff like you walk in a room and we're mirroring people's actions. So we'll be in a circle, and then I will be like, jigga ee, and then the person next to me has to go jigga ee. They have to like mirror the same movement, and then like you send it back the other side, and you're trying to like I don't really know what the mirroring is about. I guess it has to do with just partnering and the whole teamwork notion of improv, where you're like you're trying to go with the person on whatever journey that they're taking you with, because that's kind of what improv is about, that whole ride or die notion that just kind of talks about. So we did some of that mirroring stuff. We focused on listening, so we did like you have to try and build a story together. So in past classes we've done stuff like you start with one word, just one word, yesterday, and then somebody else says two, and then somebody else says people, and then the other person says rolled, and then you try to finish a sentence based on a kind of theme. So you might say, oh, we're writing a letter to Santa Claus. Anyway, but today we did more of a, she pointed to somebody and then she's like, okay, this story has to have a villain, a superhero, and a death. So she points to somebody and then you start the story, and then once she points to somebody else, the story, you have to pick up from there. So it's an exercise in listening so that the story can still make sense, kind of. But so that was cool. We also did a lot of yes anding as well, which is like one of the core principles of improv. And just the whole idea again about the fact that came back to vulnerability a lot this time around, because you may not know where the story is going, you may not know where it's going. However, to be vulnerable is to be willing to step in, to go on that journey without knowing the outcome, and be brave enough to do it while people are watching. And so that was a big one for me because of where I am in my story, in the sense that I am chronicling my journey, not just this particular journey, but also just through my blog. And anyway, this particular class was talking about how, yeah, like I said, the vulnerability and being able to just go on that journey even while people are watching and not really care about it. So it was reiterating again the ideals of like, there's so many things in life that there are structure and rigidity and whatever, so you just have to be free to just be, right? So practiced a lot of that, and yes anding, which is the whole idea of just agreeing with your team. If you're building this thing together, we want to build a bridge as opposed to separate towers, right? So bridge is involving two people, and a tower would be just you, the one person. So we're practicing how to take the me out of things, how to like, sometimes you just think about what can I add to this story. So when we're talking about the story building, you're focusing on what you can add instead of thinking about it as a whole and how you can support this other person and that collaboration. So that was something that we talked a lot about today as well. But it's also sometimes hard to just say yes and go along with it. What was the example she used? Like, so yeah, say you're at a dinner party and you spill some wine on your shirt. No, that was the bad example. Anyway, just going along with it and being free to just be open to whatever. So yeah, that was pretty cool. We're really starting to get into some meat and potatoes now of the performing and just full out improv. So that's really cool that that's happening. We played this game called Freeze, which is a game I actually played when I did Broadway camp. If you follow any of my stuff, I probably would have mentioned this somewhere along the line, that I went to Broadway camp one summer in Mississauga, and it like changed my whole life. Like I became a different person from that Broadway camp experience. And one of the games we were playing, Freeze, we did that at this Broadway camp thing. So it was just a cool little flashback to a point in my life that was very memorable. And to play it again was cool. So now we have a break. I'm supposed to go and try to find a live improv class, or a show. So I'm gonna do that. I'm also supposed to practice mirror objects. So we do a lot of like, okay, I'm just gonna do something like this, and then you have to guess what it is I'm trying to do. But sometimes you may not even realize how you hold a burger, how you do fries, how you talk on the phone. So the lessons are to do something and then drop it and then see if you can mimic that movement with the thickness and everything. So yeah, gonna work on that. I'm also supposed to go up and talk to random people and engage with people and be like, hey, how's it going? And comfort zone stuff. But so far so great. Thanks for listening. And yeah, I'll tell you more when the class resumes next weekend. Hello. I have a vulnerability hangover this morning. I randomly, okay, so homework for my improv course, program, whatever, was you have to go see improv, like go see live improv. It doesn't count to watch whose line is it anyway or whatever. You have to go see improv. So Victor and I went to Second City because they have shows there every night, mostly stand-up comedy, sketch, that kind of stuff. So decided to go to this improv show called Random Tandem. And then at the front they were like, oh, do you want to put your name in the hat, you might get called, whatever. So I stupidly put my name in the hat. We go in, not a whole lot of people. I'd say maybe, I don't know, 30 maybe people. Small theater, the John Candy Theater, I think it's called, there. And the description was like, it's a live improv show where experienced and novice improvisers do stuff. So you go and then it's like lots of energy. Yeah, come on guys, yeah, all right, we did the show, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna put hands in the hat and call people, you know, you form teams and stuff. And the first name they call is mine. What do you ask? What the first name they call? Oh God. So I went, and then they paired me up with a more experienced improviser whose name was Will, I think. And then the first game was called I Like My. So the leader would call out a word, and then you have to go up and say, you step forward, you're in a line and you just step forward. I like my, then she was like, light pole, and these people would be like, I like my light pole like I like my men, tall and hard or whatever. See, I could have said that. Anyway, so she kept naming out different things, and you have to step forward, and then she would change the word. And I didn't go once. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of us on the stage, or 8, and I didn't step. I kept wanting to step forward, but everything was like, I like my men, like I like whatever. She did Kitty Littler, she did Extinguisher. So, and people were being like raunchy. I can't be raunchy. I can't do it. And Victor was there. Like, I can't be like, I like my men raw and crunchy or whatever. I could. It was just stupid. So I ended up I didn't go up at all. I didn't step forward. And then they called us up again. And then basically my skit was, my improv thing was the game. I have to only say words in this random book. Like, you pick a page, you can only respond to the conversation with words from the book, sentences from the book. And then people will be like, give them a relationship, and then somebody's like, siblings. So me and Will go up again, and then I just have to read the line, and it's dry. Like, it was dry. I feel like we kept in dry ones. And then we had another thing to do. We had to act out a situation, and that is a misconception. And somebody said basically he was pretending he was a terrorist and I was a police officer. Just not a cute scene. Not cute. Anyway, I feel flopped this morning because I didn't do well at all. I don't know, I put my name in the bloody hat. I don't think I'm even a novice. They were impressed that I would even get up on stage, but I felt stupid. But it's an exercise in putting yourself out there. I'm only a little happy that I did it, but classes start again. I'm not even finished my first half of the first level of improv, and I I should not have done it. I feel stupid. So a bit of a vulnerability hangover this morning, which essentially means that I feel hungover after putting myself out there, exposing myself. Add to that, I was at an event right before the improv session where I had to talk to a lot of people about why I quit and what I'm doing now, and so like I was on stage for the whole night essentially. So feeling kind of blah this morning, but I'll get over it. Hey, I forgot to do my a post for Friday's class. Friday, we had another teacher. His name was Carrie. He was really cool, and we focused on we talked still about storytelling and that kind of stuff. Of course, I'm talking about my improv class, my intensive level A improv. What did we do? Because I forgot now. But we did some stuff. Jeez and ages. Oh, okay. We did more about storytelling and supporting your teammates and that kind of stuff. So we did stuff like you come into a room and we have to build the objects within the room and interact with them. So it was a lot about object work, that kind of thing. Again, just working on your ability to just step forward and not be fearful, that kind of a thing. So it's good. I had a lot of fun. I really had a lot of fun on Friday. I feel like, I don't know, I'm enjoying the classes more and more, because I remember heading to class today thinking, oh, I had a lot of fun yesterday, and I would say that today was really fun as well. So I can see the change happening in the sense that I'm moving out of my head a little bit more when it comes to executing some of these games and stuff that we are playing. And it's really super weird to see some of the stuff we do. So for example, today we focused a lot on performance without words. So we were just doing gibberish and trying to focus on the emotion of telling the story and that kind of stuff. So like the whole class, people were just saying and like just insane. But very fun class as well. I'm also learning more about the people in my class, which is political, drawing close to the end. So tomorrow's gonna be a video of just like final thoughts and that kind of thing, as I hopefully go on to the next level B. So I'm looking forward to moving on in this class, but it's good. It's been going really well. So I just wanted to do a quick update about today and yesterday, and the fact that I'm loosening up. I feel myself loosening up, and I feel myself jumping in without thinking too hard about what I'm doing. So yay for improv. It's working. It's working. It's working. It's working. It's working. See you.